Hi everyone, good afternoon. So our subject for today is going to be about accounting behavior. As you can see on the slide that the topics about behavioral accounting has been a major topic, but mostly since it is related with how human perceive on the behavior and then how is it influencing the activity previously in terms of finance. So in a way that finance since the beginning have shaping the behavior activity of human in terms of finance and then at the beginning also in terms of economics as well. So if we look into how is it like for example the principle of supply and demand have started since the beginning like we can see from the supply and demand. If there is a demand there will be huge supply as well. And then the game theory, I think at the beginning, I also already explained about the concept of game theory, where most of us taking a 50% and then another 50% of chance in terms of opportunity. Like for example, if you choose A as an option, of course, that will be another option that going to be replacing an opportunity of A. So the choosing is either between A and B. So, and then the history goes on when the behavioral economics secure, and then suddenly it's going to lead into another perspective, which is the perspective of behavioral finance, behavioral economics, and then the last time behavioral accounting. So today we are going to learn about what is the meaning of behavioral accounting in the perspective of human being. Okay, so this one actually, what is the meaning of accounting? I think since you are coming from the background of accounting and then finance mostly, you already well aware what is the meaning of accounting. So accounting is a system to identify and then recording and then to communicate as well, to communicate about financial information which is relevant, reliable, and then can become a good comparison. If we take a look, how is it data in accounting can be relevant to any particular situation, we can use the example, like for example, Tesla wanted to find out how much the user of Tesla within this region or within the country. For example, in the US, of course, since Tesla are coming from the US, a lot of customers are coming from the US. So Tesla can use the selling number of Tesla within the region, like for example, Michigan and then California and then Washington DC or New York, how much is the user of Tesla. So they can use that data in order to find out how is it to make the best economical decision for their company. When I use the term economical decision, it is mostly related with effective and efficient. So being effective and efficient is related with effective, of course, in terms of time, while efficient is in terms of cost. So either between those two options, the combination is between to choose effective and be efficient. Of course, company can choose both becoming effective and efficient as well. But in along the way, sometimes the company have to choose either becoming effective or just becoming efficient, something like that. Okay, so and then who are the user of accounting information? So these are the user of accounting information. I think you already well aware about this information. We have internal party and then we have external party. First is internal party that are coming from the management side, and then also tax officers, and then human resource management as well. And then we have investor, SPI, creditor, Bapepam. I think previously, currently, Bapepam were replaced by OJK who's monitoring the finance activity in Indonesia. Bapepam previously the institution who are monitoring the capital market. So in a way, how is it the marketing and then the finance able to use this kind of information to be able to make a very detailed and then a very comprehensive information. And then let's take a look on how is it the ideal decision-making process. So the first one is to defining the problem. So when we all wanted to define the problem, we must determine the requirements that becoming the solution to problem that we must meet. So, and then we have to establish goals that solving the problem should be accomplishes. And then next is moving forward, how to identify alternatives that will solve the problem. So in the case of during pandemic COVID-19, I think we all knew that a lot of companies having hurdle or facing difficulties either to close down their businesses or to stay in the business by using a lot of option. Like for example, if we take a look into Pizza Hut have to choose to stay in the business. Like for example, I think we all are seeing like Pizza Hut employee selling their pizza on the street. Those are a hard time. Those are a hard time for everyone. So but and then it's a good strategy. It's a good winning strategy from Pizza Hut to overcome the hurdle, and then they can survive. As we can see right now, there is no employee from Pizza Hut that currently selling their pizza on the street anymore, which is they are surviving. It's a good thing that they are surviving because they have to maintaining the employee. So Pizza Hut is a good company. And then on the fifth step is develop valuation criteria based on the goals. So every company have goals. It depends on, like for example, towards that we can be see toward their vision and mission. Like for example, if you see the Alfamart and then Indomaret vision is to be able to provide retail industry, retail opportunity, retailing product to the whole population of Indonesia. Of course, it took time because geographically, if we are talking about geographically speaking, Indonesian population is very huge. We even retail small, huge retail store like, for example, Walmart or any other mini market that in Indonesia cannot fulfill that goal. But and then huge retail, another huge retail store like Alfamart and then Indomaret able to fulfill that kind of needs or goals that they want to become or fulfilling the needs of Indonesian population in terms of daily necessities. So in terms of between that goals and then another goals they're trying to achieve by Alfamart, so they have to select a decision-making tool. For example, in the case of Alfamart, whether they want to opening a new branch or developing the one that already exists. If they want to develop another dance, they have to think of like the location and then how much it is the cost to rent that place. And then another thing as well is the how about like developing the current situation or I mean the current store that existed. For example, is it opening a new line of division within the internal store? Like for example, I think Indomart also have a selling point. Like for example, selling coffee. It tastes good. Have you tried their coffee? Since Miss is a coffee lover, I've tried their coffee and I think it tastes good. So and then on the sixth step is to select a decision making tool. So a decision making tool is something that more into a model or an appropriate model or tools and both combination between in achieving company's goal and then what they are trying to achieve at the beginning, whether they want to become effective or whether they want to become efficient. And then on the next step is the step 7 is applying the tool to select a preferred alternative. So how to apply the tool to select a preferred alternative is like, for example, company can make option A, B, and C. Like if the option A is failed, they can go to option B. And then if B is failed, they can go to option C. And then on the next step, which is number 8, is to check on the answers and then to make sure whether it's going to solve the problem. Like for example, if there are several options and then how is it going to be able to fulfill those ideas? Okay, next is the problem about in terms of decision making. So in terms of behavioral accounting, we always face with this kind of condition. The first is the knowledge of decision maker is not enough. And then the second one, incomplete information, incomplete availability of information. Like for example, company need how much is the population in one area, but and then BPS, Biro Pusat Statistik, didn't have that kind of information. It's just an example. Of course, they have that kind of information. And then next is related with bounded rationality. I think bounded rationality is the one that I always discuss during our subject about financial behavior. We always subjected into our bounded rationality. Like for example, if we put into the have to pass the decision making in terms of whether we want to put our investment in one product and then suddenly we pass we sorry we have to ask to someone else this question, like for example we ask our parents, our friends, or the one who think is an expert on this field. So what kind of things that going to be bounded rationality in terms of this? We as a person is already rational enough, but and then we are not confident, and then we are trying to take influence from another person. Is this a good thing? Of course, it is a good thing, but this is going to be a bad thing also, since if we rely so much on another person, it's going to influence our rationality. So in between the ratio should be 50-50. Okay, the next is whether we are rational or not. So in terms of bounded rationality, it is always the condition about how to make a decision making. How is it individual have limited information and then cognitive ability and then time. And then in terms of cognitive biases, there is a diversion pattern where we have to make decision in terms of situation and then perception and then accuracy as well, and then prediction, interpretation, and then irrationality. Like for example, if we think of someone, we as a person, like for example, in this classroom, we perceive someone ABC, and then we think of that someone as ABC. So those are differences. But for example, if we met that someone during their difficult times, of course, they are going to reflect that difficult times to us. Like for example, they are going to say something that very harsh to us, while to another person they are going to say something that very pleasant or comfortable. So it is cognitive bias is subjected with rationality. And then the problem next is about the problem of heuristic. So when we talk about the problem of heuristic, we always going to be relates it with cognitive biases and then heuristic. So heuristic is individual who use the strategy, simple strategy or rules of thumb in making decision. This one according to Tversky and then Kahneman, 1973. And then next is heuristic is divided into three. The first is availability heuristic, and then representativeness heuristics, and then anchoring and adjustment. So the availability heuristic is we can say that this type is how is it which one? The question is which one that causes the death the most in the US? The first is lung cancer, or the one and the next one is driving in a car. So the question and the answers based on the data is the second one. The perception of people mostly they are choosing the answers of A because they are thinking that most people are having lung cancer. Is this going to be difficult for them? But they don't realize is what they don't realize is a lot of people is doing the driving while also texting or answering the call. That is a bad thing. So that is why the most availability heuristic that according to the data is number B. And then the next one is the representativeness heuristic. The representativeness heuristic is the cases of birth in big hospital and then small hospital. Like a lot of people thinking that birth in a small hospital in a big hospital is huge because it is located in capital city, but they don't realize that the case of birth are happening mostly in a small city. Why? Because according to research that in a small city, a lot of people still have lower income, lower education as well. So their perception about having a number or lots of child is related with rezeki. So that is why the birth of baby are coming mostly from a small hospital. And then next is anchoring and adjustment. So anchoring and adjustment is mostly related with reference point. Like for example, anchoring is the simple things. We anchor our opinion to someone else. Like for example, we ask someone and then that ask someone has become our reference point. We always ask the same question to them. And then next is behavioral accounting. So these are the interpretation of accounting behavior. So the first one is related with how is it individual behave, and then how is it individual behave in terms of accounting context, and then how is it the study of individual behavior, accounting and non-accounting, because the influence of information or the function of accounting. So between the information and then so the type of information and the function of accounting is always related with how is it financial accounting and then auditing and then managerial accounting and then taxation and then information system is going to influence the way we, particularly the one who is involved in accounting in decision making. In terms of financial accounting, it is always related with data in financial report, while the second one in auditing, how is it the auditor able to audit several kind of data in auditing. And then managerial accounting relate how is it the using of managerial decision, and then in terms of taxation, and then information system as well. So the question is there any theory about this one? Of course there is. So the theory that supporting the behavioral accounting is the first one we already learned and I already explained about it at the previous slide as well. The first one is related with bounded rationality and then heuristic and then experimental method. So the psychology on the cognitive bias is related with reference point effect, prospect theory, conjunction policy, insight and then post bias, data fixation, order effect, anchoring and adjustments, and then self-fulfilling prophecy. Let's learn it one by one. So this one, not one by one. I think I only can give an example, 3 or 2 example only. So reference point, this is an example. For example, there is a boss asking a secretary about how much is the salary of engineering in the minimum wage. And then the boss asking the wrong person because the secretary just going to randomly saying number, like for example, 23,000 rupiah. So, but the boss should ask a right person, like for example, the data according to the regional salary in that provinces. Engineering should be paid above 23,000 rupiah. So that is why when the boss paying 23,000 rupiah, this is below the minimum requirement. So that is why when it is happening, probably the engineering just going to be working, like for example, for 1 year because he thinks that the salary is not enough or is not compatible. Okay, next is how is it the importance of framing. So you can imagine if you go to a place, like for example, expecting to adopting some kind of model in a company, whereas the model of the company are consisting of two sides, like for example, A, 6 million rupiah, and then B, 2 million rupiah. These two alternative plans have been formulated to counter the effect of the price increases. So in terms of the consequences, we can go like this. So if plan A is adopted, the company will save 2 million rupiah. And then if plan B is adopted, there is 1/3 probability that 6 million rupiah will be saved and 2/3 probability that nothing will be saved. So those are the condition, the current condition. And then the next condition is how is it the company able to implement the condition with the maximum effort that they can adjust. Okay, so this one next is framing. Framing is very important in terms of accounting behavior. So you can see the saving side and then the losing side, especially is quite the same. Why is it the same? When we look into how much number that we can save, actually much more larger. But human, is it investor or decision maker in terms of finance and then accounting, we always take a look into the losing side. So that is why it is going to be much more into losing more than the winning side. Okay, next is conjunction policy. So conjunction policy is like this. So if you see a woman who are 31 years old, and then she is single, outspoken, and very bright. And then she majored in philosophy. As a student, she was deeply concerned with the issues of discrimination and social justice, and also participated in anti-nuclear demonstration. So when you see this description, you can figure out that perhaps Linda, as a woman, is a very bright, and then she tried to she is like the woman who's anti-social or social activist. But what a lot of people they don't realize that even a very conventional woman also can becoming a feminist or movement also. So Linda is the second one, the red highlight. Linda is a bank teller and is an active in the feminist movement. So this one, how is it the conjunction? Okay, I think like the record process is stopping, but it's okay. I will continue it with a simple example again about how is it on the next example. Since there is a technical matter with the connection. And then this is the next slide will be about how is it some people perceiving about a certain town that having two hospital. So those two hospital in terms of larger and the smaller hospital. But I already explained about this one. Mostly they think that larger hospital will giving birth much, but and then smaller hospital is the one that having much more babies. And then this one is appreciating the sample size. How is it like for example, if an investor always asks a broker, how is it the situation market in the situation market whether want to invest or not, and then the investor is giving the broker or the investor consultant always giving advice every week. So what is the percentage of this investor will follow the stockbroker advice? So a huge percentage of acceptance is like around the number of 70 until 80% because he always exists on the daily life of the investor. Okay, so actually those are the is meaning of behavioral accounting, and then how is it going to be useful in terms of accounting, particularly financial accounting and financial report also. I will be explaining again next week. In the meantime, you have to do the same. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.